Good evening. Welcome to our council meeting, June 4th. Please stand and join us in the flag salute. Councilman Lucio will lead us this evening.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Don't know what's happening with the microphones. Okay, we have very special introductions this evening. I'd like to call up Fire Chief Tim Shackelford, who's going to introduce us to our new firefighter paramedics.
Mayor Yaloa, Mayor Pro Tem Howie, members of the council, staff, and members of the community, good evening. Tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce the 6 newest employees of the Chino Valley Fire District. They began the recruitment process with us in the fall, and they started last week on Tuesday. They have an additional 3.5 weeks, roughly, of some training, and then they will be assigned to their stations. First, we have Tyler Hackbarth. Zachary Parker. Gina Parlett. And Greg Sprang. And again, we're very pleased to have them. They truly are the best of the best, and they have very bright futures ahead of them. Looking forward to seeing them out there serving the community soon. Thank you again.
Welcome to the Chino Valley family. Okay, next we have another group of very important recognitions. These are recognitions of appointments to the United States military academies. I'd like to call up Alexander Ramos, who's appointed to West Point Military Academy. Jacob Turner. He's also... Oh. Hi, Jacob. He's also appointed to West Point. And then we have Ryan Torres. Ryan, congratulations. And he's appointed to the U.S. Air Force Academy. Very impressive. I'd like to call up Saul Guerrera, who's representing Congresswoman Norma Torres. So.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I couldn't be any more proud of these 3 young men. They have all been accepted as the class of 2023 for the United States Military Academy. They to highlight some of the most beneficial award, I should say, to the parents. Each one of them will be receiving up to $500,000 to their undergraduate degree, all costs of living, uniforms, food. So it's just such a pleasure to have gotten to know them. And I do have little congressional awards on behalf of Congresswoman Norma Torres for your new positions. And thank you for serving your country for the next 8 years? 10 years. 10 years. So if we can give them a big round of applause.
Gentlemen, are any of your families here with you this evening? I'd like you to have them come up, please. Families, come on up. Come on. Come on up. Okay, gentlemen, I do have city pins that I'd like to present you. You're welcome. And I'd like each of you to introduce the family members that you have here, and feel free to say a few words.
Today, here with me is my mother Maritza and my father Manuel. And I just want to say thank you to the community and the city of Chino for preparing me for my new ventures and giving me the leadership opportunities they have. It's programs like the Teen Advisory Committee and the Youth Advisory Committee that's got me to where I am today. So thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I would like to introduce my mother, Elvia. She's helped me a lot throughout this entire process, and this award is as much mine as it is hers. So I would like to thank her in front of all you guys, and I look forward to representing this city on my future endeavors. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is my mom, Deborah, and my oldest, or one of my sisters, Natalie, and her daughter. This is my niece, Madison. So you're no one without your support, your family support, and I really am nothing without my mom and my sisters. And with my mom driving me everywhere I needed to go, and I really couldn't have done anything without them. And I want to thank the city of Chino for allowing me this place to call home for the past 19 years. And to everyone out there, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to serving this great country. And go Army.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much
For being here, sweetie.
No, thank you.
Thank you all very much. You're welcome. Boy, how special to have 3 young people from our community going right. Fantastic. Okay, next we have recognition of the Chino Cultural Foundation scholarship winners. The Chino Cultural Foundation supports music, theater, and visual arts by providing scholarships to students living within the Chino Valley Unified School District, and is pleased to recognize this year's award recipients. The Youth Arts Scholarship goes to students enrolled in music, theater, or visual arts programs and may be used for training, instrument rental or purchase, or to purchase equipment and materials. The Gretchen Hart McCombs Memorial Music Scholarship is awarded to a graduating senior who is enrolled in a college or university as a music or music education major. I'd like to call up Michelle Knight Reinhardt, please. She is from the Chino Cultural Foundation Board. Michelle?
Okay. The Chino Cultural Foundation supports the arts. We also support dance. So if you were wondering where dance was, dance is also one of the things we support besides music and theater and visual arts. So we've had scholarships for the last 4 years for the Youth Arts Scholarships, and we have given away probably close to about $50,000 to date in scholarships over the last 4 years. The Gretchen Hart McCombs Memorial Scholarship, this is the 3rd year that we have given that, and we've had 3 great recipients. This year's recipient is from the Flatlands this year. It was 2 people from the hills the last 2 years, so I was glad one of us Flatland people got some recognition. Anyway. So I'm doing a little plug right now. There was flyers at the front for our upcoming Cultural Foundation Art Uncorked event, which the proceeds from that go to support scholarships and other arts in the community, but scholarships is a main focus of that fundraiser. So if you want to come out and have a really nice time on June 27th, come on out to Art Uncorked and support local artists and have some wine and have some fun. It is at Brinderson Hall, the Chino Fairgrounds, 5:30 to 8:30, Thursday, June 27th. I'm sorry. But there are flyers in the front, which has all the information. Okay, so.
Would you like to read off the names?
Yes.
Or I can read the names
I will read the names and you can give the certificates.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, first recipient is Caitlin. Oh, these are the Youth Arts Scholarships recipients. Caitlin Byers. Charlotte Gallagher. Aiden Murillo. Calvin Paras. Patrick Quiros. Sydney Reyes. Joseph Rice. Charles Rupert. Isaiah Vogt. And one of our recipients that is not here this evening, but we'll give her a little round of applause, Sabrina Villamil. 3 of our recipients over here literally came from rehearsal right up the street at the Chino Community Children's Theater. What are you guys rehearsing? Anne of Green Gables. So that opens when? June 21st. So go see them in that. So then I have the recipient of the Gretchen Hart McCombs Memorial Music Scholarship, which is going to Eric Hernandez. Eric's going to be attending Riverside City College and marching in the band there.
Okay, parents, I'm sure you want a photo op.
I don't know who to give this to.
Congratulations to you all. Okay, and our last presentation this evening is the Mayor Home Beautification Award for June. I'd like to call up Debbie Johnson. She lives at 4400 Philadelphia in space 155. Debbie, are you here? I don't see her. She must have not been able to make it this evening. But there'll a picture of her beautiful coach, and it'll be shown on the screen. She'll receive a lapel pin, a writing pen, and of course, the coveted yard sign. Okay, City Manager, do we have any agenda additions or revisions?
I have no changes, Mayor.
Okay, under public announcements, first I'd like to invite everyone to come out to our All-American Bingo and Barbecue on Friday, June 14th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Chino Senior Center, located at 13170 Central Avenue. Here, all participants can enjoy an afternoon of great barbecue starting at 1:15 p.m., with bingo games beginning at 2 o'clock. Advanced ticket purchases will cost $20 per person, with tickets costing $25 if purchased at the door. For more information, please contact the Chino Senior Center at 909-334-3271. Additionally, happening later that same day is the kickoff to our Chino Summer Nights Movies on the Lawn series. Admission to our Movies on the Lawn events is free, with opportunities to purchase food from retail, retail food from various vendors that will be available to all attendees beginning at 6:30 p.m. As in years past, Movies on the Lawn will take place right here on the City Hall lawn, with all movies beginning at dusk. For Friday, June 14th, the movie that will be shown is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So please make sure you don't miss out, and please call our Community Services Department at 909-334-3258 for any questions. And lastly, I want to give an additional reminder of our annual fireworks spectacular, which has expanded to 2 days, Friday, June 28th from 4 to 10 p.m., featuring carnival rides and food booths, and Saturday, June 29th from 1 to 10 p.m. at Ruben S. Ayala Park, located at 14225 Central. Beyond the great live music, food vendors, and of course, an outstanding fireworks show, please make sure you don't miss out on the show's military recognition, which begins at 7 p.m. with the fireworks show at 9 p.m., again on Saturday, June 29th. For more information, please call our Community Services Department at 909-334-3258 if you have any questions. Okay, next on the agenda is public communication. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the City Council about subjects that do not appear elsewhere. We'd be glad to hear your concerns or your comments, but we cannot take action on anything that's not agendized. Our first written request to speak is Mr. John Mata from Cavalry Chapel, Chino Hills. I'd invite anyone to stand who would like to join us in an invocation.
Madam Mayor, thank you so much. City Manager, City Attorney, and all council members, thank you so much for this opportunity on behalf of Calvary Chapel, Chino Valley, and Pastor David Rosales. So let us please pray. Lord, we come to you in prayer in the name of Jesus to thank you on behalf of all who gathered here this evening. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health that we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you for loving us even so from your boundless and gracious nature. You have established these leaders to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and for these leaders and the levels of city officials in this particular assembled council. And I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony, and even though when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda that is set before them this evening. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live, who work, and are around our beloved city of Chino. And it's in your blessed holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay. Let's see. Zeb Wellborn from the Chino Valley Chamber.
Good evening. I think I just want to kind of fill you in on what's happening in the chamber recently, and this is June, so we're coming to the end of the fiscal year, and it's the end of my first year as the executive director of the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, so I thought it made sense to just kind of update you where we are on what we kind of tackled this year. I think at the start of the year I had a couple of goals and things that we wanted to accomplish. We wanted to increase our members, obviously. We wanted to increase larger businesses who are participating in the chamber through our Chairman's Circle program. We wanted to increase the attendance and the exposure at our events for our local businesses, and we wanted to have more involvement with our community. And so those are things that we really try to tackle this year. I would like to report that we're all positive on all of those things. So we're significantly up in membership. Last year in March, we had 319 members. We're almost up to 400, so it means we've added almost 80 businesses this year. We've added a significant amount of large businesses participating in our Chairman's Circle program and getting more involved in the community, and so our business community is getting more involved in the community at large, which is a good thing. And the last thing was our event attendance is is significantly higher, so we're up well over 20%. The goal was 20% this year, so way above that in terms of community getting involved in the stuff the chamber puts on this year. So I'm really excited to announce those things because I feel like we've made a lot of progress this year. I'm looking forward to another, like next year we have a lot of really positive things planned. I think I'll share those at a future meeting, kind of our goals for the upcoming year. But I just wanted to update you all on how we're doing so far through our chamber. I also thought it would be a good opportunity to kind of let you know the things that are coming up, So we have our Southern California Charity Golf Classic, which is something that I hosted the last 4 years, and now that I'm running the chamber, I thought it made sense to make it a part of the chamber. So we're raising funds for 4 different local charities, which are Boys Republic, the Chino Rotary Club, Priceless Pets, and the Love Them All Foundation. So that's going to be the tournament this year. It's at Western Hills Country Club on June 24th, which is a Monday. So it should be a lot of fun. So if you're a golfer, or you are a business who wants to get in front of golfers, we already have 116 golfers that have registered. We have about 20 sponsors for the golf tournaments. And we have tons of donated raffle prizes and things like that. So it'll definitely be a good time. A lot of on-course contests, a lot of on-course stuff. So it'll definitely be a fun time. So if you have that in your mindset and you like playing golf, it's a great place to be. Or even if you don't like playing golf. We also have our State of the City for Chino, which is coming up 2 days after that, which is June 26th. So we're excited to host that in collaboration with the City of Chino. Unfortunately, I have to announce that it's sold out, and so we're sold out well in advance of the State of the City, which is a really good thing as well, because our businesses and our community at large is obviously invested in what we're doing here in Chino. So with those things, I just wanted to say thank you for your support this year and working with us at the Chamber, and we're really excited about what's to come in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Zeb, for the update. Next written request to speak is Stubby Barr.
So thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I missed our forward planning workshop a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to touch on one of the issues that was discussed there, and that, of course, has to do with accessibility. One of the things that is a constant recurring theme that comes up far too often is the fact that the accessibility regulations, which are often referred to incorrectly as ADA issues, are changing. There are new regulations. They haven't been interpreted yet. So what I did is prepared a couple of handouts for you. The first one, the one that I spent a little more time on that has the colored pictures, is basically a timeline of all of the legal and legislative issues that have led up to our current accessibility laws. The second one is a document that I actually prepared a couple years ago for Public Works here, which gives you the background of the authorities that lead into the California Building Code that have to do with accessibility. I don't expect you to read these, but I just want to give you a brief summary of what's in them. The accessibility laws as we have them today started in 1961. Crippled Children Society of America developed a set of standards that was published by the American Standards Association. It's now the American National Standards Institute. Those same basic guidelines are still in effect today. In fact, they've actually been lessened. When it comes to public works, there's only a handful of issues that we deal with as far as public right-of-way. Occasionally, you have a building to build and other issues come in, but our building inspectors deal with 13 volumes, soon to be 14 volumes of regulations, some 6,000 pages. And when it applies to public works, only 12 of those pages apply to the work that is done in a public right-of-way: streets, crosswalks, sidewalks, curb ramps, traffic signals. And within those 12 pages, there are a multitude of duplications because some of the same requirements apply to multiple different instances across the board. Those regulations, if you want to quickly glance at the second page of the black and white handout, the larger one, there's a little chart that shows the common issues that we still have here today in public works. And as you can see, the requirements have not changed or actually have been lessened since 1961. California legislature passed a law in 1968 requiring that all public facilities, public meaning anything furnished with public funds, be accessible by 1970. In 1982, those same regulations and a few more were added into the building code. The building code has now been adopted to pretty much, there are a few exceptions, duplicate the Americans with Disabilities Act, including the same numbering system. So these issues have been in effect primarily in California for 51 years, which means that the design engineers who are claiming that this is new or has recently been changed have had these regulations in place for their entire career. The ADA has now been in place for 29 years. Pretty much the same thing applies. So there's a little homework there for you. Hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. If you need more information, I cut down a couple of trees and print out my library for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stubby. Okay, those are the only written requests to speak we have this evening. Now, we do have something that we do here every council meeting, and that is, and I don't know if it's going to apply tonight or not, is we invite any students in the audience to come up and introduce themselves and tell us the school they're attending, their teacher's name, and the class that requires them to be here this evening. So, I don't know, everybody might be out on summer break, but is there anyone in the audience that would like to introduce themselves and it's here for a class requirement?
Maybe you're just for fun.
Just for fun? Okay, you guys need to get a hobby if you're here just for fun. Okay, seeing none. Those are the only written requests to speak that I have this evening. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on an issue that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on to our consent calendar. Are there any items that wish to be pulled this evening from council members?
I do.
Okay, which item?
Number 10.
Okay, we will be pulling item number 10 and acting separately on it. We also have a written request to speak on item number 10. Are there any other comments on the balance of the consent calendar? If not, then a motion would be appropriate. Okay, there's a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Tom Howie, second from Councilman Rodriguez. And Mark, vote.
Oh, sorry.
And the balance of the consent calendar passes unanimously. Okay, item number 10, final acceptance of park improvements at the Preserve KB Home Coastal Incorporated. This item is to adopt resolution number 2019-026, accepting the dedication and park improvements for Meridian Park in the preserve for track map number 17055 and master site approval 05-05 as complete. Staff report this evening will be provided by Nick Ligori. Mr. Nick?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So back in 2005, the Planning Commission approved a tentative track map authorizing Brem communities to develop approximately 177 single-family homes in the preserve in a project site generally located at West Preserve Loop between Bickmore and Pine Avenues. The Preserve Conceptual Parks Plan indicated that a 6-acre neighborhood park would be located at the northwest corner of Pine Avenue, West Preserve Loop. As a condition of approval, Brem was required to construct a public park within the project boundaries consistent with the plan. This was in excess of their park obligations under Title 18 of the Municipal Code. In 2010, KB Home Coastal acquired ownership of the project. As part of the acquisition, KB assumed the rights and obligations stated in the conditions of approval for the track map, including the obligation to dedicate parkland to the city and the right to reimbursement for the dedication of parkland and improvements beyond that required by the code. Consequently, in 2013, City Council approved a reimbursement agreement with KB in the amount of $2,217,103, which represented the value of the dedicated parkland and estimated cost of improvements to the park above their code requirements. The city attorney has verified the chain of title for the project and that KB is eligible to receive the reimbursement for the land improvement costs as a successor in interest to Brem. The park was never formally accepted by the city. Therefore, staff is requesting the council to adopt a resolution, accept the grant deed for the park parcels to formalize and complete the acceptance and title transfer process. The city has performed its final inspection of the park and generally found the improvements to be complete. However, there are several items of repair and reconfiguration that are necessary to bring the park up to current city standards. Part of the reason for this is that the park has been in use for many years by the public, and so there are wear and tear of facilities that has occurred. Staff is proposing that the cost of these items be covered by the existing budget in Community Facilities District 2006-3, which was formed for the Brem Communities project. Through the design and development process, the city staff and the Planning Commission approved the design of the park as it's constructed today, which totals 5 acres, spans the electrical transmission line easement, and includes the area known as West Meridian Park off of Mill Creek Avenue, which was designed to serve dual purposes of both an open space amenity and a detention basin. Staff has found that while this area was constructed according to approved plans, the open space function is compromised substantially during wet weather years, and the facility is not accessible to all potential users. Staff, therefore, will work with the Preserve Master Maintenance Corporation, which is required to maintain the park in perpetuity, to secure and remove the amenities at the site, which will be done by maintenance and ground staff. While this design is not entirely consistent with the specific plan as envisioned, and the city would not agree to this type of design and configuration today, the developer did build the park per plans reviewed and approved by the city. In other words, staff currently prioritizes the design of parks for beneficial and active recreational amenities instead of dual uses and optimizing land configuration for the developer. Staff did receive a letter today from Mr. Robert Nigg, which asks a series of questions about the reimbursement and requests the council to postpone action on the item. Staff has reviewed the letter, but this does not change the recommendation to the council. Therefore, staff would recommend the council to adopt resolution number 2019-026, accepting the grant deed for Meridian Park and the park improvements, and take the other actions as noted in the staff report. And this concludes my presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we do have a written request to speak, and I'm going to head and request that the gentleman address the council on that prior to our questions of you. Stubby?
Thank you again, Mayor and council members. Thank you, Nick. First, I would like to thank staff and council. There's been a tremendous amount of effort and time that's gone into this behind the scenes. What I've given you is a couple of graphics that I built just to show you the difference between what the specific plan indicates and what we arrived at. I don't agree that this is the correct response, and I don't agree with the decision, but I do agree with legal counsel and staff when they do recommend this be accepted because it is probably in the best interest of the city to do so. The funds that were dispersed, I don't agree with, and I definitely do not agree with the chain of title. But the city does have a statutory obligation to reimburse under the Quimby Act. So I cannot endorse this. I just wanted to bring to your attention that what we specified in the specific plan and what we are receiving are two completely different things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stubby. Now, council questions of staff? Mark, did you have questions or comments?
Well, I guess the reason I pulled it was because I read this email from Mr. Nig, and then some of the things he brings up here, reading it, I'm not sure that I have an answer for them for certain, and then I'm confused maybe on a few of those items. Maybe you can answer those things, and certainly I guess he's objecting to some of the conditions that, how would I put it, are something that happened long ago, and this is a complicated matter. I guess it's not just simply that they built something and we approved it. I mean, this was, as I understand, someone that owned some property, was conditioned, went bankrupt. We took over, or KB came in and bought it out of bankruptcy, and then we later agreed to some monies to reimburse them for part that they're building. My confusion comes in, and this is provided by Mr. Barr. I appreciate this because I hadn't seen this before, so I wasn't even aware of it. So it just confuses me more. The more I get, the more confused I get. I thought the more I get, the more clarification would be. But that being said, one of the things that I see Mr. Nig points out here, and I'm trying to understand is, and this is what I want to make sure that we're clear on, is these things that need to be fixed there. What are they, and what are those costs associated with that? And then how are we reimbursing that, or how are we paying for that? Do you have an answer for that, I guess, is my first question.
Sure. Staff has gone through and walked the facility, and there are specific improvements that need to be made to ensure that it meets all accessibility requirements. As well, there are some general maintenance items in the restrooms and other things. So it's mainly concrete work, putting in signs and placards, and doing some other things like that. So staff is requesting that we utilize the funds from the Community Facilities District that was established in the preserve. And it was established in the preserve. This is one of the purposes of that, was for these facilities. We do not believe it will exceed $20,000. We believe we can do almost all of the repairs with city staff.
Great, okay. And then the other thing he mentioned in here, and I was, this open space. So of the 6 acres, or, I mean, we are 4.5, basically 5 acres, right? What we're talking about is the language that was used in the staff report was that was compromised. Let's see, I'll read his. Staff has found that while it was constructed according to approved plans, the open space function is compromised substantially during the wet weather years, and the facility is not accessible to all potential users. So I agree with Mr. Nig in terms of what does that mean? I mean, did they build a portion of the park that was meant for recreational activities, and somehow during the winter years or the weather, they can't use those? And are we going to pull them out, the equipment out of that, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it means. There was a portion of the open space that's off of Mill Creek. It's known as West Meridian Park. It's 0.6 acres, and it was designed for a dual purpose to be a detention basin to help with stormwater flows, to mitigate stormwater flows off the site, as well as open space. It was an idea that may have been well conceived, but in practice does not work.
Okay.
And that's indicated here in blue on Stubby's phone.
Yeah, I see that. So, yeah. So that makes sense to me. So if you can just answer this one last question, would be that we're certainly obligated in some kind of statute that says we provide park space for so many residents, correct? And is this shortening that in any way, or do we still have enough park space? I know we had them build over what they were required, but in terms of the preserve. So losing that 1 acre of park space, does that, I guess, do you understand my question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So there's a projection of a population for the preserve at build out. And so the way that the park space is planned in the preserve is that there would be sufficient acreage for that projected build-out population. The plan has been amended over time, and there have been some units to specific areas that have been added, but park acreage has also been added. So staff believes that as we move forward, and we've increased a couple of the parks in acreage, that we should have sufficient park space in the preserve at build-out for the population.
So Nick, this area floods every year, or just during major rainstorms?
It picks up all kinds of water, but it depends on the volume that we get in a certain amount of time, whether or not it gets and stays soggy, if you will, for quite some time. And this year, it was definitely soggy. 2008, it was definitely soggy. So
on an average year, when we don't have as much rain as we have now, how many months is it to the point where they can't use it?
It's tough to say because it is designed to drain out within a certain period of time. The soil condition of the preserve is, it doesn't drain super well. So in years when we have successive rain, it will be shut down a lot. In drought years, it could remain open almost all the time, or could open within 48 hours after a rainstorm. So it's really dependent upon the volume of the water that's coming into it. But be that as it may, the fact of the matter is it's down. It's very far down into the ground. It's 8 feet below grade minimum, and which makes it a challenge for all potential park users just to get down to it and utilize the facility. So that's the major shortcoming. And then ancillary to that is you have years like this year where the bottom will stay muddy for weeks and weeks.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Tom.
At build out on the preserve, will there be any difference in water flow? Or will this always be the same?
This will always remain the same because it is only taking on drainage from areas that are tributary to that specific developed area. So there shouldn't be any increase in flows into that basin.
Any other questions? Okay, Nick, I have a few. The 0.6 acres that you're going to be taking equipment out of, What's the equipment that's going to be removed?
A pet waste station and a park bench. To my knowledge, I also believe there's a barbecue down there.
Okay.
So,
Now, if that truly is going to be a retention basin, usually they're fenced.
it is currently fenced.
It is fenced.
With a gate.
Okay.
So the gate would be secured.
Okay, and who then is going to maintain that property?
The Preserve Master Maintenance Corporation.
Okay, because you've got homes right next to it, and if it does retain water for quite some time and the weather increases the warmth, then you're gonna have problems with mosquitoes and vectors. So are they also going to maintain that?
Yes, they would work with vector control to make sure that if there was standing water for a long period of time, that would be addressed. The design of it is such to move the water out. So if everything is functioning properly, it should not have standing water for days or weeks. But depending upon the level of rainfall that's experienced in any given year, the dirt stays very, very muddy down there.
Okay.
So
If it's 8 feet below grade, then how does it drain?
it has a outlet structure, so it's designed to accommodate a certain level of flow coming from the detention basin, and then it flows into the storm drain, which is connected to the Bickmore storm drain system.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, then what is the council's pleasure? Either a motion to approve, there was a request to delay. What would you like to do? Staff's recommendation is to approve. Okay, there's a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Rodriguez. Please vote. Okay, the item is approved unanimously. Okay, we will move on to new business. Item number 14, amendment to design professional services agreement, State Route 60 bridge crossings, project design, WA18A, amendment to the State Route 60 bridge crossings project, design professional services agreement with Michael Baker International. Our staff report this evening will be provided by our civil engineering manager, Maria Frazier.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and audience. Caltrans is currently proceeding with a bridge retrofit project along State Route 60 freeway in the city of Chino. The bridges to be retrofitted are Benson, Monte Vista, and Pipeline Avenue. This project will correct the current vertical clearances, which are not compliant with the current vertical standards. The work to be completed will entail the removal and relocation of city-owned facilities such as sewer and water lines. Research and examination of several documents concluded that the city of Chino has prior rights. Therefore, Caltrans also concur that they are liable for 100% of all the design and relocation costs. And on May 7th, 2019, City Council approved 3 reimbursement agreements with Caltrans for the relocation of the city's infrastructure along Pipeline, Monte Vista, and Benson Avenue. On April 3rd, 2018, Council awarded a design professional services agreement to Michael Baker International, MBI, to prepare plans and specs for various utility relocations. With Caltrans' collaboration, the sewer and water line relocation designs for the various locations were completed under the original agreement. At the Benson Bridge, MBI completed a bore and jack sewer design with a horizontal alignment just west of Benson Avenue Bridge. The design required a deep vertical alignment which ended at the bottom of the freeway slopes on both sides. On the top of these slopes, homes and pools currently exist. Upon Caltrans' geotechnical staff review of the design, it was their opinion that the bore and jack operation would compromise the stability of the slope to the north and south of the alignment, and it would possibly cause damage to residential properties at the top of the slopes. Caltrans collaborated with staff to explore options, and after extensive coordination, it was concluded that a horizontal directional drilling was a more desirable option
as it would keep the Benson sewer within the street alignment and therefore avoiding any conflict with the slopes. Caltrans requested that a horizontal directional drilling design be completed, so staff requested and received a proposal from Michael Baker International for the redesign of the sewer in the amount of $140,916, which was agreed upon by Caltrans as well. So staff is recommending the following. Appropriate $154,916,000 from the unappropriated reserves of the sewer fund with a corresponding increase to the State Route 60 Bridge Crossing Project. Increase the revenue budget by $154,960 for Caltrans reimbursement. Approve an amendment to the Design Professional Services Agreement with Michael Baker International in the amount of $140,916. Authorize expenditures up to $14,000 for project contingencies for a total potential contract amount not to exceed $525,000 for 126. Authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city. All the design costs will be reimbursed by Caltrans as per utility agreements entered between the city and Caltrans on May 14, 2019. This concludes my report, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Maria, we are going to be reimbursed for all of these expenditures, but how, what's the procedure that Caltrans goes through in reimbursing? Do we have to pay everything and then wait a couple of years for reimbursement, or do we submit reimbursement requests as we go along?
We can do that. We can submit requests as we go along, and we're planning and programming where we're waiting for the budget to pass to meet with finance and the folks from Caltrans to go through exactly what the procedures are, but we can start getting requests for reimbursement as soon as possible.
I think that would be very wise. Comments from council or questions of Maria? Okay, then I would entertain a motion. Okay, there's a motion from Councilman Lucio, second from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, and the item passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. The only thing I have to report on this evening is attending the Memorial Day event, which was held on the 27th. It was a very, very nice event. It always is. We have a lot of people that attend, and the weather was perfect, absolutely beautiful. The 21-gun salute always makes me jump.
Loud.
It's loud, it's very, very loud, but it was a very, very touching ceremony, and I'm very pleased to say that our entire council and many of our staff were in attendance. I do have an action this evening, item number 15, community support contribution. I have split my $5,000 into many, many, many different organizations, and it's on our agenda, so I'm not going to read them all, and so I would appreciate council's support for my community support contributions. So there's a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Hargrove. And my item passes unanimously. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mayor Pro Tem Howie.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report this evening.
Really? Okay. You don't want to say anything about the Memorial Day?
All right. Okay, I will say something about the Memorial
What?
Day. It's great to see so many people come out, and it's just a good morning. Unfortunately, a lot of other cities have their Memorial Day service at the same time. Ontario does, and I know Norma Torres, our congresswoman, goes there first and then runs over to get to ours before ours finishes, and she seems to do that every year. She seems to do that every year, but it's great to see our little Liberty Courtyard that we have now, and it's good to see it. And then we've got the flagpole looks great, and yours, remember, we had to get that thing painted or fixed for years ago, and it's just the American Legion. We thank the American Legion for doing that for us. It's a really good event. And I did go attend the Montclair Memorial Service at 6 o'clock up in Montclair, and they do a really good job also in their service. So it's kind of cool to see what other cities do. differently than what we do. And I guess this year we're going to be doing a Veterans Day memorial service for the first time. And so we'll have, it'll be interesting to see how well we plan that. I got some ideas that I'd like to bring out for that when we have some meetings for on November 11th or as close to that day as possible coming up in November. So it was good. Yeah, it's good. Look forward to it.
Okay, Councilman Hargrove.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much to report. Just real quickly, I attended with Councilman Lucio and Councilman Rodriguez the graduations of Chino High and Don Lugo. That was a nice event. Kids seem to be really happy as they're done, or at least for now.
You didn't have any streakers or anything?
No, not that I saw.
There was one year.
Yeah?
I was there.
The good old days.
It was scary. It was scary.
And then also attended Buena Vistas a couple days later. That was a nice event also to go over there and see their 60 graduates or whatever the case may be that they promoted or graduated also. And then I attended CIW's Chaffey College graduation. They had 14, 15, some of the female inmates there that graduated from Chaffey College with degrees and certificates. It was well attended by individuals there also, so that was nice to see that event. And then, well, that's it, other than I want to also do a community support contribution, and that's to American Legion and Chino Neighborhood House, Chino High Sports Boosters, and Don Lugo Sports Boosters, so I'd appreciate that.
It's item number 16, and there is a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Howie, second from Councilman Lucio. And your item passes unanimously.
I did just want to, lastly, I attended the Chino Neighborhood House meeting at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The California Institution for Men Prison brought over a donation to them of just over $2,200. So that was nice to see that check come in, and that'll help them out immensely.
Great.
So I just thought I'd report that. So I don't know how they get their information out, but I thought I'd mention it here. So
Terrific.
thanks so much.
Okay, Council Member Lucio.
Yes, on May 27th, I too attended the Memorial Day ceremony at the Chino Community Building. It was well attended. It was a great event. We had the opportunity. My girls all came home from college, so it was the first event that we were able to attend together. So it was nice having them there for it. On May 28th, like Councilman Hargrove said, we attended the Chino and Don Lugo High School graduation. It was a nice event. It was at the Citizens Arena. It was nice that they stacked them right on top of each other, so we didn't really have a lot of downtime. But it was good to see the kids excited, graduating, and some of the valedictorians up there. I mean, those kids GPAs were well over the 4s. It was just impressive to see the dedication that these kids have for school. On May 30th, I went to Cal Poly Pomona for a ceremony that Congresswoman Norma Torres had 3 students from Chino. They were receiving their military awards for attending the academies. I attended there and presented them certificates from the city to Alexander Ramos and Jacob Turner from West Point. They're both going to West Point. And then from Ryan Torres, who's going to the Air Force Academy. But one of the things that Congresswoman Torres talked about was the fact that Chino PD has embraced this program, that they start reaching out to kids in the 7th grade. And a lot of them have moved on and become members of our military and have attended these academies. And even Congresswoman Torres expressed that for being such a small city like we are, we always seem to have quite a bit of people that attend those academies from her district. So she said, although you got other cities like Ontario that are bigger or Pomona, Chino seems to be the one that contributes the most. So I think that just hats off to the community, the parents that are here that support their students. And then obviously the Chino Police Department for hosting that event and making that available for everybody. So they've said that they want to continue it. Congresswoman Torres says she wants to continue to have it here in Chino. So I just wanted to thank them for that as well. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, you also have item number 17.
Yes. I wanted to make a community support contribution for the Relay for Life here in Chino. and I would just like support.
Okay, I made the motion. Second is from Mayor Pro Tem Howie. And the item passes unanimously. Congratulations. And Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, I too attended the Memorial Day services, which was very moving, and the weather was really, really nice. A lot of people were there to celebrate, and it's always good to honor the sacrifices that all our service men and women have done in the past and are continuing to do. May 28th, I too attended Chino High School and Don Lugo's graduation here in Ontario, well attended by various parents. May 30th, I attended the Buena Vista High School graduation. Monday, I attended the RENA Regional Housing Needs Assessment, and at this time, RENA is working on the methodology, which falls under the HCD, and the housing community determination. And the best way to describe it would be that one shoe does not fit all. So if you look at Southern California, we have various counties, and each county is going to need a specific amount of housing for each county. So San Bernardino, Riverside, we have more land to develop. They're also taking it into consideration those cities that hold and have universities and colleges, more development for housing for students and also for affordable homes around those communities. Today I was invited and attended the end of Ramadan for the Muslims here at the Big League Field of Dreams in Chino Hills. There was over 2,000 individuals, so it was a good celebration by the community. And that concludes my report.
Okay. City Manager Matt Valentine, anything this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I have two items. The first item is related to the office hours down in the preserve. I just want to remind folks that we'll be hosting office hours down in the preserve at our community center from 6 to 8 p.m. on the first Thursdays of every month. So we would invite folks to come out this Thursday. Finally, Councilmember Hargrove and myself and Chief Comstock went up to Sacramento and met with the secretary. I want to thank the fire district, both Chief Shackelford and President John DeMonico, as well as Cynthia Moran, the mayor of Chino Hills, who joined us up there. And what the city was seeking is we're wanting a tolling agreement with the Department of Corrections so we can further discuss the 50-bed mental health facility that they're proposing to construct. The environmental process is coming to a conclusion, and the purpose of the tolling agreement is to kind of put any litigation on hold, so allow us to kind of vet the security of that facility and hope that they can we can work jointly to mitigate the concerns that we have. So again, we're hoping that the state will enter into a tolling agreement, but in the interim, all of our partners, the community partners, again, the fire district, the city of Chino Hills will be meeting tomorrow. And I also want to thank Supervisor Kurt Hagman. The county is certainly behind our efforts, and so I want to thank those individuals, our community partners, for their support. That concludes our report.
So if the state does not agree by Friday to enter into a tolling agreement, then we will have to file suit, I understand.
We will be filing suit, correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Our city attorney's report, Mr. Galante.
No report other than to say we actually have the paperwork ready if they do not enter into that tolling agreement by Friday.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And Chief Comstock is actually on vacation, so we have Captain Kevin Munson here this evening.
Good evening, Mayor. We are exactly 1 month away for the 4th of July, and with that comes our fireworks for the city of Chino. So the police department is in the process of putting together our deployment plan for the 4th, which is going to consist of a large contingency of our personnel working that night and collectively with the fire department out enforcing illegal fireworks. We're also going to be having our special enforcement team in several weeks leading up to the event, investigating people that are selling illegal fireworks. A lot of this occurs on social media and on the internet. And if we come across them, they will be arrested and prosecuted. We found this to be very successful last year. So we're going to do that again this year. And something new that we're going to be doing is a week leading up to the event, or to the 4th of July, we're going to be sending out 2 officers in a fireworks enforcement capacity, handling calls for service. Not only do we obviously get a tremendous amount of calls on the actual 4th, we get quite a few calls in the days leading up to it. So they will be handling those calls and handling complaints and doing proactive patrols. So I just want to encourage the community that if they get these people seeing people lighting illegal fireworks, to please call us, especially the several days beforehand. And if they know where they're coming from, to let us know that as well, so we could go out and make contact with them and hopefully stop that before it continues, especially on the 4th of July, when people seem to get a little crazy. So that is all I have, Mayor.
They get a lot crazy.
Yes.
Not just a little. And it starts more than a week ahead of time. It's, in fact, in the county area, it's already starting. Okay, Tim Shackelford, anything from the fire department this evening?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Just a brief report. I believe Captain Menson covered all the issues with fireworks fairly well for us. We do appreciate that. Next Wednesday, June 12th, our Board of Directors will be meeting at Fire District Headquarters at 6 p.m. And in my opinion, they will hopefully approve the most significant issue that they face each year, and that's our budget. So we'd encourage the public to attend. That meeting starts at 6 p.m. And then I'd just like to encourage the council and the public as we approach the 75th anniversary of D-Day to remember those that sacrificed so much for our country. That was truly a turning point in the war. So just give some thought to those folks. There's very few of those people that served our country so greatly. Have a great night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, with that, then we will be adjourning to our next regular meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, June 18th at 7 o'clock here in the council chambers, with closed session starting at 6 if necessary. We are adjourned.